But the quiz will be viewable starting tomorrow. So after everyone's taken it, I make it viewable. And then if you choose to do corrections on it, like you just do that on a separate piece of paper. And you can even do it like at home. You don't have to come to tutoring. You don't have to do it while I'm watching you. Because they're corrections. It would be for half credit back. And I really just want to encourage you to look at what you're doing wrong so that way you don't make those same mistakes on the test. And then if you're not sure why you got it wrong, please ask. And during math lab would be a great time to ask. But that's how it'll be for all the quizzes. We do need to have more assessments and projects for math lab. So today's Kahoot will go in the project/collaborative assignment category, because it's something that you can do collaboratively. But then, yeah, if we manage to finish it early, I don't know that we will. But then your other task would be to make sure that all the practices thus far are at 80% or higher. And then my correction retakes would follow that. So any questions? All right, do you want to do team mode or individual? Okay, so then classic mode. And you can do the Kahoot on your Chromebook, on your phone. I recommend for the calculator, either use the one you're planning to use for the test or on Desmos. All right, but there's a code. All right, so first question, how many solutions does the system of equations below have? I'll try to make it bigger. How many solutions for that system? Y equals 7x plus 10, y equals 7x plus 5/6. How many solutions is the question? Remember, take notes as we go. So once you answer, start jotting it down on the paper I gave you. Okay, so you guys will get better at seeing some of these patterns that you might not even have to do the work for some of them. Like this is a problem that for me, I wouldn't have to do any work for. I know that looking at it, it's going to be no solution. And how do I know that? Does anyone else know? How it's no solution without me doing any sort of math or graphing or anything. What did you say, Remy? Saying what? So this is the same between them. The number, sorry, I can't see my pen going apart. The number in front of the X is always my what? About the line. No. Slope. So the number in front of the X is always your slope. So when they have the same slope, because it is the same, but different, what are these over here? Different y-intercepts, what does that create? What do we call it? Parallel lines. All right, and parallel lines never intersect. We know that solutions to systems are where they intersect. So if they never intersect, there's going to be no solution. So the fact that this was already in slope intercept form makes it really easy to see that. We have the same slope, different y-intercepts. But if you graphed it, you would have seen I get two parallel lines. I don't know what way they go, probably something like that. And there's no intersection, so no solution. Questions on that? I got an out. Go ahead. So we're doing convolution and we're part of education. So
we do a fundraiser over here, and that's our homecoming tree. So whoever has the longest homecoming.
So identify the solution to the system. Identify the solution to that system. This one didn't specify like what method you had to use. We've only learned 2 so far officially. We haven't learned the last method yet. So what method did you guys use to solve it? Desmos, so graphing, good. Did anyone do substitution? All right, you could have. This one is not that bad. Since graphing and Desmos is super easy, I'll show you a substitution because you do need that. You do need those skills for how to solve equations on your test. All right, but substitution wouldn't be a bad method because if you look at the second equation, the y is already isolated. I can take what y equals, which is 2x minus 4, and plug it in for y in the other equation. So if you did it by substitution, and remember, take notes as you go. If you did it by graphing every line, you can still write this down in your notes. Anywhere you plug in something, put it in parentheses. So like if it's x plus y, we know y equals 2x minus 4. So that's what I'm plugging in. Usually there's something outside parentheses, even if it's not written. What is it? A 1. Sometimes it makes a difference, sometimes it doesn't. Like if this was x minus y, it would make a difference. Right now it's x plus 1 or x plus y. So when I distribute that 1, it really doesn't change anything. But if it was negative, it would change both of these signs. But regardless, just don't skip that step. And now that the equation has just one variable in it, x, not x and y, we can actually figure out what x equals. So what's x plus 2x? 3x. And then now it's a 2-step equation. So do I get rid of the 3 or the 4 first? And how do I cancel it out? So I'm going to add 4, whatever you do on one side of the equal sign. The other 3x equals what's 5 plus 4. Opposite of multiplying 3 is 4. Whatever you do on one side. And I'm having a feeling that this didn't have the, oh, you know, yeah, it did. Okay. What's 9 divided by 3? And if I look at my answer options, only one of them has the 3 in the x position. So that makes it a bit easier. I don't have to solve for y on this one, but I could still. Because then what you would do now is you take what x equals, which is 3, plug it into one of the equations. They say you have to plug it into the other equation, but if you look here, if I plug it into this one, it goes 3 plus y equals 5. What would y have to equal? 2. And then now you pair it up as a coordinate, x and then y. Questions on that? So then I'll yeah. All right. How many solutions does the system of equations below have? How many solutions? All right, so the correct answer was 1 solution. Almost everyone got it. So it didn't say you had to solve by any particular method. Graphing would probably be easier for this one because we don't have a variable already isolated. And to do that, you might get like a fraction. Well, you would if you decided to isolate this x. So maybe like substitution for this one wouldn't be the most ideal. But regardless, it's still solvable with either one. In graphing, I'll show you that one because I haven't shown you that one today. In some graphing calculators, you have to make sure that you rearrange it first. In Desmos, you don't have to. You can just type it in exactly how it looks. If they use other variables than x and y, it won't work. So just make sure you change that. if you do. And visually, you can tell it only intersects at one spot. Where it intersects would be your solution. So questions on that? So that's the combination of x and y that make both equations still true. All right, so then next one. Remember to take notes as we go. I'll be checking throughout. That's how you're getting your project points today for Math Lab. Okay, what is the solution to the system of equations graphed below? I'll try to make it bigger, sorry. I'll do my best. But what is the solution is the question. That's as big as it'll go. Okay, so since it was graphed for you, you shouldn't have to do any math. You would just have to know first what the solution to a system would be. It would be where they intersect. And then how to read that on a coordinate plane. So here is where they intersect. Coordinates are always written with what first? So then if it helps you draw it, it helps me. What's the x value at this point? And what's the y value? So that's it.
I just read the one solution and put it three.
Yeah, too fast clicking.
I didn't realize that they're not.
Yeah. So that's it. What else about that? I feel like there's anything else. Can't remember though. Yeah, so x to the left, the x-axis goes left to right, y to the sky, the y-axis goes to the sky up and down, okay? So then on to the next one. All right, so how many solutions does the system of equations shown below have? Out. Okay, graphing, looking at it, it would take a few steps to rearrange it to isolate one of the variables. So I would agree that graphing might be better at this point. This week you might change your mind when you see this next method that we'll do, but from what you know, it would take quite a few steps to rearrange it. So I would agree that graphing might be better for this one. So then when you do that, you see something like this, and of course, don't do any like typing errors, that would stink. But when you do that, you see that there's only one line that you can see. Why is that? Why does it look like that? Because they're right on top of each other. Even if like I take this one away, like now I can see the red one again. So when they're right on top of each other, they're intersecting all the time. So they're right on top of each other. They're technically the same line if you do that. So that is why it is infinitely many. Questions on that? All right, so then on to the next one. Systems with one solution are blank. You guys may or may not know this, but just do your best. Systems with one solution are blank. Okay, so on your test this year, it's not going to be really majorly important that you know like this vocab. In the past it was, so that's why it's on this Kahoot. I made this Kahoot before. Anyway, just on a side note, if you see that it has one solution, it's technically consistent and independent. It's both at the same time. Inconsistent would be like no solution. And then I forget what dependent is, but yeah, you don't need to know the vocab this year. All right. So what's the solution to the system of linear equations graph below? All right, that's as big as it'll go. What is the solution? So since they provided you the graph, you really shouldn't have to do any scratch work. You should just have to look at it and visually verify what about the two lines to figure out that they have no solution. What do you need to look at? Table 2, can you tell me? So what do I have to look at, verify on the graph to make sure that my answer is no solution? They're not intersecting. What else? Can you elaborate more on that?
Parallel.
Because of what? Like, how do you know for sure that they're parallel, that they're not gonna intersect, like, they have the same number, yeah. So, yeah, when it's in slope intercept form, that's what you're visually having to verify. Because sometimes the slopes could be like really close to each other. But if you look at the equations, or you can figure out the slope from doing like your rise over run, something like that, then you can determine for sure that they are parallel. Because you can't see the whole graph. So questions on that? All right then. So then on to the next one. Systems with infinitely many solutions are what? Another vocab one, just do your best. Okay, so consistent and dependent when it's infinitely many. Consistent because any X and Y value will work for both, not any, but like if it works for one, it'll work for the other one. And then dependent, I forget why, but it's dependent. So questions on that one? All right, again, not needed to know, but like it's in there, so might as well cover it. All right, systems with no solution are blank. So based on what you know about the others, try your best on this one. Okay, just inconsistent. It probably should have been independent too. I don't remember. I haven't had to teach the vocabulary in a few years. All right, but definitely inconsistent because no combination of X and Y works for both. Okay, so then next one. All right, write a system to match this situation. 3 bats and 12 balls cost $71.25. 1 bat and 24 balls cost $51. Find the cost of each, but you're just writing the system. You're not actually calculating anything. Great practice for your test. This may be your last one.
write down the whole question.
Probably pack up after you've answered it. But I'll still give out the prize. I did check as you guys did it. Okay, so let's see who the winner is. I don't think we'll have time to fully go over why that's the answer. But basically, systems have two equations, so you should have two equal signs. And it should like contribute to whatever the total is. So like, since this contributed to that total, and that contributed to that total, and that's why we'll figure it out that way. All right, but the winner is Melody, you can pick from that box over there. And that concludes today. Any questions? All right. You can keep it, ours will check it.
Oh. Yeah.